Hi.
Hi.
Let me just see if I can hear you. So I see Zane on Facebook. I see Jeff. Jeff is saying hi. I see you. Uh, great, great. I think everything is good. I see on YouTube we have Chris. We have Sopam. It's great that we have Sopam here because we have a lot of India-related news as well today, among other things. GV. Oh, great. Thank God Amatheus is here. Mike. Hi, Mike. Another godless atheist is here. Um, who did I miss? Sorry if I missed you. Okay, so ask your questions. We're going to be, Ali and I will be covering the latest news. Ali, did you have any updates before we get into the news?
Actually, some of our news are updates, so
Mm.
we'll get to those when we get to those.
All right, great. By the way, before we get into the news, remember, guys, August 17th is the day that we have for Free Sohail, which is who is in prison in Iran right now for insulting Prophet Muhammad. He's been in prison for many years, and he has been on and off death row. August 17th, please check out the hashtag Free Sohail. We're trying to bring more attention to his case because his case is not getting attention at all. But we're gonna come out in the streets, and we're organizing protests and stuff to bring some more international attention to his case and maybe help get him out. Anyways, Ali, did you wanna get to the news?
Yes, let's get right in. Our first news is actually was suggested to us by Subham, so thank you, Subham. And it's out of Dadri, India. A wife asks for 30 Indian rupees to buy veggies. Man loses cool, gives her triple talaq. The police have booked a man for allegedly divorcing his wife by triple talaq following a heated argument over 30 Indian rupees in Greater Noida's Dadri. According to the woman, her husband allegedly lost his cool, thrashed her, then divorced her when she asked him for 30 Indian rupees to buy vegetables. The incident took place on June 29th, police said, adding that the complainant, 30-year-old Zainab, lived with her husband Sabir, 35, in Nai Abadi, Mahila in Dadri with their three daughters and a son. In her complaint, she alleged that she was subjected to domestic violence by her husband and in laws. My husband divorced me by triple talaq, spat in my face, and ousted me from the house, she alleged further.
Spat in her face, Jesus. Okay, so for people that don't know what triple talaq is in Islam, so this is in India, right? And I thought this became illegal in India to do this. By the way, just before we get into that, for people that don't know what triple talaq is, in Islam, what you can do, women, it's really hard for women to divorce their husband. They have to like jump through hoops and talk, get the judge and convince. Like they have to do so many things to be able to get a divorce, and a lot of times it's rejected. But for men, it's easy to just get a divorce by saying talaq. Talaq means divorce. Three times to your wife, you are officially divorced, and that's how easy it is. You just have to say talaq, 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 three times, and you're divorced, right? That's how easy for men to divorce their wives, right?
Right.
So which is very unfair to the women. Why do the men can get to divorce them? But this man divorced his wife over 30. What is it? 30 rupees?
30 Indian rupees, yes,
Rupees.
to
How
go
much?
buy vegetables.
How much dollars is that? You
Oh
know.
gosh, that would, yeah,
Okay, very little money. So
tiny,
what is it?
insignificant.
What a stupid thing to get. And he spat in her face.
Oh, well, and it's not even just that he spat in her face. It was according to her entire complaint, it was him, it was two of her brother-in-laws, sister-in-law, and they thrashed her. And I'm not exactly sure if that's just wording that was used or if thrashing is something like caning. In India, I wasn't able to. So, Subham, if thrashing means something other than beating, please let us know. But so they beat her terribly, and a matter of fact, they called her family to let them know that they need to go do something with her. She's no longer married to this man. So her family went and got her, and they had to actually take her to the hospital. It was that bad. So
Whoa. Okay, so that's why he was arrested. Not just.
no,
Okay.
no,
Oh.
that's not why he was arrested. So on August 22nd, 2017, the Indian Supreme Court deemed that triple talaq was unconstitutional, right? And
Right.
then just 2 months later, on December 28th, 2017, they passed a bill that makes instant triple talaq in any form, spoken, written, electronic means, and such as email, WhatsApp, anything like that, it's to make the marriage illegal and void, they can get 3 years in jail for the
What?
husband.
Okay,
Does
this
that?
this is weird. Okay, first of all, just to clarify that, because people in India, Muslims in India, were divorcing their wives with texting 3 times talaq as well, or WhatsApp or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And India was like, okay, no, we're not having any of that. That's. I was happy before when I heard that India made that unconstitutional, but I didn't know they made it a crime. I mean, why would you make it like? Isn't it enough to make it void so that so that the divorce is not, legal? Why do you have to make it a crime? Like if the
That's exactly right. I mean, it's one thing. It's absolutely one thing to say you can't do this. It doesn't make your divorce legal, right? So then they can sit there and they can scream it all they want to, but it's not legal in the country, and then the couple has to deal with a proper divorce. But 3 years in jail time just for saying it.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's void, if the divorce is void, then what's the point of making it a crime? Like you haven't divorced. Like now, saying triple talaq, it doesn't. It's not divorce anymore. So what's the point of making it a crime? Like you haven't you haven't divorced her anymore. I don't understand.
Does
India.
triple talaq typically come with physical violence?
Well, I mean, make the physical violence a crime.
Right.
I mean, it should be already a crime. You don't have to make it a crime. By the way, Sopam
Right.
said that 30 rupees, that's apparently 44 cents. This guy was not having a good day, was he? Like, over what? Yeah, I don't understand. But I still don't understand. Why should that be? I mean, 3 years?
3
Maybe,
years.
maybe is the reason why they have to make it a crime is because making it void is not enough, because maybe the Muslims have their own Sharia court and their own community, and even if the government still recognizes you as married officially among themselves in their own Muslim community, you're divorced. Like, so that's why they had to make it a crime, because today in their eyes, you're not my wife anymore. The, the government be damned, right? So maybe
Right.
that's why they had to go beyond just making it void, but also making it criminal. But still, 3 years. That seems. Is this guy getting 3 years?
They haven't said. They just said that they booked him specifically for divorcing his wife by triple talaq.
Soraya is saying our parliament made triple talaq a crime, hence Muslims have lost their calm. So an MP named YC saying the same thing like you, Armin. Interesting. So it's interesting how a lot of people from India just say TT. It seems like for triple talaq, it seems like this triple talaq issue is such a big thing, like such a big topic in India, that people just now have to just refer to it as TT. Like that's how common it is in this
Yeah.
country. um,
Beej made a joke. Maybe he just didn't like vegetables. I don't know. I mean, I think
maybe.
if that was the straw that broke this camel's back.
Guys, and I said she was going shopping. She was gonna go buy vegetables. She said, "Give me money." Like, isn't that like that's nice that she's going and doing shopping? Like, I still don't understand what's the problem. Okay, and you divorced her over buying vegetables. Okay. Let me see what the top comment is. So Hella saying, great thing for women, don't have to live with such a person for a whole life and also get alimony. I don't know. Yeah, you could count. You don't analyze these stories as like, oh, it's better for women to live. Like it's not. If you're living in a poor environment, I'm pretty sure like being divorced from your husband would, in most of these situations, not a very good idea for a woman. Even if your husband is an asshole, it's really hard for you to figure out how to manage your life if you just abandon like that. Especially for it's not like they could just go and find a new husband. They're seen as used products if you're divorced, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like you can't just be like, oh well, he's an asshole anyways. Why don't you want divorce from them? Also, even if you do want, if you think it's a better deal for the woman. You have to make it fair. Like you can't just the man can't just do triple talaq and the woman don't have that option if they want to divorce their husband. So it's just a very unfair system. Well, I mean, it's Islam. Of course, it's unfair. Azhar is saying, I'm sure she'll be relieved now. Good riddance. No, God, people are not really looking into. Okay, let me see who else is saying anything. Beej is saying maybe he just didn't like vegetables. Oh yeah, that's what. All right. Should we go to the next news?
Next news is out of North Carolina. Church leader body shames a 19-year-old girl, saying fat girls don't wear shorts. Jenna, a 19-year-old member of the choir of Swansboro United Methodist Church in North Carolina, was fat shamed by a church leader who told her she shouldn't be wearing jean shorts with her body. She went into the church's bathroom to check her phone because a family member was in the hospital. She was confronted by Bonnie Sue Bahari, who immediately began to shame her by talking about how another chubby girl in the church wears an inappropriate dress that comes to her knees, and why aren't you doing that? Jenna got it all on a video.
There's a video for this, right? Let me show you the video. Hold on.
Yeah.
One second. I don't understand. This is a weird story, eh?
Yeah.
Down to about top of her knees.
So you're sitting here calling me fat?
Oh, you don't think you are?
No, because I fucking love who I am. I'm sorry. No.
Wait. I need to make this full screen. Hold on. Let's go back. All right, hold on.
She's a chubby girl. She's got a dress on that's appropriate. It comes down to about top of her knees.
So you're sitting here calling me fat?
Oh, you don't think you are?
No, because I fucking love who I am. I'm sorry. No.
You
Get
can
the
love
fuck
you.
out of my face.
I don't have to. And don't swear at me like that.
I don't give a shit.
I do. That's your problem. I do give a shit. But you don't. Obviously. Don't come back on that stage with those shorts. I'm warning you.
Who are you?
Oh, wait. This is...
Who are you?
You read my name.
I see that, but who are you to tell me what I'm supposed to
Lower
do?
your
No,
voice.
get the fuck out of my face!
Quit swearing at me.
Get out!
Don't.
I am 19 years old and I can do whatever I want!
Really?
Yes!
Try it.
Okay, bye! Bye, because guess what? I've been recording this entire thing, and I will show my parents that I will never come back to this church because of how much you are disrespectful. You are so disrespectful.
Wow.
She called me fat. She called me fat.
Go in the bathroom.
She is in there swearing.
Wow. Okay, what do you think about it? I think people should go now to this church wearing as protest, just wear like the minimum possible clothing and just show up. Yeah, I think that should be the reaction. I think a whole bunch of people should be like, we're just here for service, for church service, and just wear like really, really short shorts and bikinis. Just women should show up with bikinis and stuff like that, just like every day, just for every Sunday, just sit there the entire time.
Yes, and post it all on social media. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot about this, and Hemant Mehta brings up some great points. He is the one that wrote this story. First of all, swearing is a no-no, but body shaming gets a thumbs up from Jesus. That's, I mean, that's just so crazy in and of itself. But so since this video went viral, the church did come in and say, hey, you know what? It's the new pastor said that this woman will no longer be representing the church, will no longer have a leadership role in the church, that they don't believe that what she did was okay.
Yeah, but let's test that. Let's test that and see, like, if other people in this church are okay. Just everybody just show up in short shorts. But Is she suggesting that if this woman was not chubby, it would be okay to wear whatever she wants? Like,
Yes.
so she's saying it's okay. So what she was wearing was an issue because she wasn't hot, and this is coming from a from okay. This is not coming from a man saying like, hey, I only like women and tight jeans if they're sexy. This is coming from another woman saying, if you're sexy, you could wear tight stuff, but if you're chubby, I don't understand.
By the way, this girl, so she posted a picture of herself wearing this outfit.
Right.
And it's not like her shorts were like upper butt or anything, which even if they were, who cares? But they were appropriately length shorts. This is just insane. I don't understand how this woman just decided it was okay to go off on this girl.
Right. I mean, the woman that is complaining, she's chubby, and she's showing her chubby arms. Look, her arms are not covered, right? So she should have been like, "Why are you showing me your chubby arms then? If you don't want to see my chubby legs."
Right. What's up with that?
Like, yeah. Why are you showing up in church like this? Cover them up. In fact, just show up in hijab. How about that, all of you? Let me see. Rob is saying that's community service. Thanks, church lady. Yo. Oh, these people are agreeing with the chubby comments, I guess. This comment is too long. Carolyn is saying good old church lady is always there to lend a hand. Edward is saying, but looking like a deflated human being bag is pleasing to a god. They're commenting on the old lady's look. Tristan is saying she got a lot to say, flapping those bingo wings covered up. Okay, yeah, that's what. Yeah. Anyways, I don't do that to anybody. Just you don't need to tell people what to wear, right?
Yeah.
Easy peasy. Let me see what else is saying. Soraya is saying. No, that was from the previous news. Do you have anything else to add before we go to the next news?
Yeah, Hemant Mehta made another good point. He said the whole ordeal is a reminder that women are constantly judged in churches for what they wear or what they do, and not nearly enough on what they believe. And that's why I guess this is bigger news than supposedly anyone else on the street saying this to a 19-year-old girl. But and I think that does ring true. I think that I'm looking back in my time going to churches and being there. Everything was about what we wore. I had to wear skirts and dresses that were appropriate for church attire. I had to do all that stuff, and it was always a big concern. That was more of a concern to me than what I learned in church that day, or what I was going to do in church that day. What I looked like mattered because I wanted to fit what I was supposed to fit when going in there. So it's just a good point. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, just normalize it by what I said. Just go on, everybody show up in bikinis and see what happens.
Yeah.
As protests.
I mean.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, our next news is an update over the news we shared last week about the Dalai Lama and his comments. So this news is out of India. The Dalai Lama is deeply sorry for remarks about women. Dalai Lama, the Tibetan spiritual leader, has apologized for controversial comments about the possibility of a woman succeeding him. He said that in the future, female Dalai Lama should be attractive, but a statement from his office apologized for his words, suggesting he had been joking. He is deeply sorry that people have been hurt by what he said and offers sincere apologies. So it wasn't just about his comments about women. As Armin and I pointed out last week, what he said about immigrants was completely taken out of context.
But not this one. Not the woman one wasn't taken out of context. Right?
No, just about immigration.
He said woman. He said the next one, Dalai Lama, if it's a woman, has to be hot. Has to be hot.
He said that if she's not hot, no one will pay attention to her because nobody wants to look at something that's not attractive.
So and he's saying that was taken out of context because that was not taken out of context. How was that taken out of context?
So they're saying that the language and cultural differences
of
people in the world.
Different cultures of people in the world. This is so this is so hypocritical because he himself was criticizing immigrants, which is for having, bringing back different cultures and stuff, right, to Europe.
Right.
And now he's saying like, oh, this is just my culture. Well, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. No, 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 no. You don't get to. You get to use that card. If that's your culture, well, then you have a fucked up culture. You can't use the culture card every time you do the shitty thing, right? So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, if your culture says that, hey, like, I want the next Dalai Lama to be, I mean, it's so weird. So wait, which excuse is he using? Is he using both? Is he saying it was a joke and this is just our culture that doesn't translate well?
Well,
Or because
that's what
you can't say both.
His office is saying he was joking. He's saying that his comments, like, because he didn't just make one comment. He didn't just say, if the next Dalai Lama is a woman, she better be attractive, right? He went on and he went on and he went on. So you can't just say he was joking, that one comment was a joke. And that's why he said personally that this was he didn't mean it the way it came out. That
What did he mean then?
Between language barriers and cultural differences around the world, people have misunderstood what he was trying to say.
See, I'm willing to forgive more of what he said about women more than this nonsense excuse, right? I think
Right.
maybe because the next Dalai Lama is technically him, right? It's a reincarnation of him. Maybe that's just his fantasy for being a hot woman one day. I don't know, right?
You
So,
know, I mean, I would
maybe
accept that.
I can accept that. Okay, it's fine. But these excuses are all bullshit. Okay, different. First of all, maybe get in touch with your office and talk to each other before you give excuses, because it seems like they're using two different excuses that contradict each other. Because
Right.
if it was misunderstood and the culture is not, then it wasn't a joke. But if it was a joke, then it's not a culture barrier thing. So which one is it? And if it was taken out of context, then what did it mean? Like, what else could it mean? Come on, it was pretty simple. You said if the next Dalai Lama if it's a woman, she better be hot, okay? So, or else no people will not pay attention, which is actually contradicts himself. I mean, he's not hot and he's famous, so I don't know what he means about that. So yeah, that's bullshit. And we mentioned last week also that a lot of powerful woman leader in the world, Germany, right? Where else? We came up with some examples.
Madeline O'Hare.
You're right. They're they're not smoking hot ladies, and they managed to get a lot of followers, right, and attention and votes. So that's bullshit. But anyways, that's fine. But the bullshit excuses makes it worse. When they said they was taken out of context, did they mention what they mean? Like, what was the proper? Because I noticed that most people, like Muslims, Christians, Hindus, do this as well. When they say out of context, they usually don't give you the right context. They're just like, out of context, and then they just run away when you ask them for the context. So did they give you context for what if he didn't mean that? What did he mean? No, he didn't. Of course not. Let me see what the top comment. Matthew's saying, I don't understand why people were so offended. The Dalai Lama is known to have an easygoing and good sense of humor. He was making fun of his own looks, for fuck's sake. Well, that's fine. Then don't again, these excuses, I think, is more bullshit than what he said. Oh wait, Matthew is saying he was making fun of his own looks. That would make it okay.
That would work had he not said nobody will listen to a woman if she's not attractive.
Yeah, and did he explain it now that this is what he was saying?
His office released a statement that I can read. It says that the Dalai Lama has a keen sense of contradictions between materialistic, globalized world he encounters on his travels and the complex, more eccentric ideas about reincarnation that are at the heart of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. However, it sometimes happens that off-the-cuff remarks, which might be amusing in one cultural context, lose their humor in translation when brought to another. He regrets any offense that may have been given.
See, I'm actually I'm okay with the joke. Okay, if he was just like making a joke, that is fine. Okay, people like comedians have said more offensive things than this, and this guy has a good sense of humor. It might be offensive. It's a joke. It's fine, but this excuse is what makes it bad for me. Like to be like to say that oh, it's a different culture. No, if your excuse was this was a joke, hey, don't take it too seriously. It's not that deep. That would be good. But if you just use the culture card, don't use the fucking culture card, because this is what other people do when it comes to this excuses. The what is called. The race is with when it comes to immigrants and brown people and they misbehave and be like, oh, that's just their culture, so you have a lower standard for other people, right? I don't think that you should use that as a way to excuse bad behavior. In fact, if you just came out strong and be like, hey, that was a joke, whoever got offended can go fuck themselves, I would have admired that more than this bullshit excuse that this was a cultural misunderstanding, because now you're promoting this excuse that endorses bad behavior and lower standard for people of other countries. Charlie is saying, by the way, I might be wrong. Just let me know if you think I'm wrong. Charlie is saying, I heard the interview. She left the door wide open for him to walk it back. Neil is saying, I think our species takes itself too seriously these days. Can't say that, can't do this. Thankfully, my sense of humor remains intact, and I don't mind having this piss taken out of me sometimes. Okay, this is funny when people say that, because people are like, oh, why can't you... people don't let these, like this would say, we're taking ourselves these days too seriously, can't say this, can't say that. No, people can say things and other people can react to it. When you react to someone's comment and somebody says like, oh, what a society we live in, nobody can say anything. Well, yeah, but that's what we're doing. We're reacting to someone else's comment. So you're basically be a hypocrite, because you're complaining, you're doing the exact same thing that you're complaining about. Well, if you react to someone else saying something, it's not stopping them from saying it. You're just reacting to it, right? Like, oh, right. They can't say it? No, they can, and you can react to it. If they can say something, you could also say something in response. Nicole is saying, oh my god, he said a woman needs to be more beautiful than him, and that's offensive. LOL, dear ducking Lord, I am done. No, that's not the part I have. Our jokes are fine, but he's saying different culture as an excuse. I think that's the bullshit part. GV is saying cultural relativism. Yes, that, but no, the bigotry of lower expectations as well. Both of those things. You were saying it's called the race card. No, here it's more the culture card, because he didn't use race. He used culture.
Right.
Yeah. Don't use a culture card, people. These standards are global, okay? Should be global. And jokes are okay. It's fine. If he was joking, it was fine. If he doesn't actually believe that women leaders have to be beautiful and he was just making a joke, I think don't you think, Ali, that's okay if it was a joke? I think it's fine.
Absolutely. I think it's okay. I think we should be able to joke. Yeah. About things like that.
Swabham is saying Buddhism is a misogynist religion. I agree with that. But I wouldn't say that the Dalai Lama is misogynist himself, because Buddhism is a misogynist religion. Just like Islam is a misogynist religion, but not all Muslims are misogynists, right? So, and I think if this was a joke, it doesn't suggest that the Dalai Lama was misogynist. And jokes are fine. I think that maybe the excuse that the office gave was worse than the excuse that he gave, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. And I do want to add that there was no apology for his comments on Mr. Trump, who he said had a lack of moral principle. So all these other things he apologized for, he said were misinterpreted, except for that last one.
Yeah.
They just wanted to make that clear.
If it was a joke, he shouldn't have apologized. In fact, if it was a joke, he should have been like, hey, if you're offended, go fuck yourselves, right? I mean, in Dalai Lama language, not the way I'm saying it. But if it was a joke, then the apology makes it. I criticize the apology more than the joke itself. Should we go to the next news?
Yeah, the next news is out of Kentucky, United States. Kentucky public schools are now allowed to teach Bible courses. Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin signed a bill allowing Bible courses to be taught in public schools. The bill allows local school boards to the option of developing a class for students to understand the role the Bible played in American history. The class would be an elective. Republican Owensboro sponsored the bill and said the Bible was the foundation for the development of the Declaration of Independence and other important documents in U.S. history. So here's the deal. Okay, even when I was going to school, we had a section in English literature on the Bible because the Bible is indeed a book. My teacher didn't do anything to teach us one way or the other about God. We were just studying stories in the Bible. It was actually secular. But so across America, people have been teaching the Bible. The problem that I have with this, and the problem that the article also mentions, is this in and of itself is not unconstitutional. Okay, because what they're doing is they're trying to say how the Bible played a role in American history. What would step over that line is if they start doing things like this Republican Owensboro says, and teaching children that the Bible was the foundation for the development of the
Right.
Declaration of Independence, which is not true.
Yes, if you teach the religion without a bias as history, as literature, that is not against the Constitution, right? That's fine.
Right.
You should be able to do that as long as it's not mandatory, right?
Right.
But if you teach it with a Christian bias, seems like what's happening here, and you're teaching people things that are actually not even true, right? Then that is against the Constitution. This seems definitely against the Constitution, isn't it?
That's the way it seems to me, because it seems what they're trying to do is put the Christian faith on some sort of pedestal and how this country developed because of the Bible, because of Christianity.
Yeah. Which is so
and
untrue. By the way, a really good book to read. Oh, I should have had this prepared. To let me see. Andrew Seidel. What's his book? He has a really good book on this. If you want to read how the book is called "The Founding Myth: Why Christian Nationalism is Un-American." Okay. His editor picked that title because he wanted to say Christianity in general is un-American, right? And United States is not a Christian nation. It's not founded on Christianity. Well, that's a really, really good book to go read to give you all the details and all the arguments on this. And he does a good job in providing the counter arguments as well. So it's The Founding Myth by Andrew L. Seidel. Go check that out. We interviewed him on the Secular Jihadist podcast. You want to go check that out as well if you want. But so this is bullshit. They're selling bullshit, and this is they're cheating Christian propaganda. And I don't know, they shouldn't be able to. I mean, isn't the Freedom from Religion Foundation going to get involved in this?
That's a good question. They definitely could. I mean, it's going to really depend on what exactly they actually form for this Bible course. Yeah. If it is what this Republican says he wants it to be, then absolutely they could get involved and they could absolutely win that case. But if people are smarter than this Republican lawmaker, and I'm sure that they are, hopefully they'll come up with something different.
Right. Yuval is saying the Bible studies, one can learn the Bible as a cultural heritage, mythology, not a source of authority. That's how it was done in Israeli non-religious schools. Yeah, in fact, I think that's a really good class to have. And I think that is completely a secular way of learning about religion. And that should be encouraged. It shouldn't be mandatory, but it should be encouraged. But this is, that is not against the Constitution, as we mentioned, in the United States, right? But this is based on their own admission and what they're trying to teach here about Christianity. This is definitely not that. This is Christian propaganda. This is teaching you dogma. This is not teaching you about a historical reality of the influence of the Bible and Christianity in the country's history. This is about selling you a one-sided Christian view of their influence of Christianity in the United States history, and that should be illegal based on the country's own laws. So yeah, they're admitting it. Like this is not a hard case to fight against because they're openly admitting what they're trying to teach in these courses. This should be easy to defeat, isn't it?
Well, if it were, so Texas in 2018, their school board approved Moses being listed as a founding father in America.
Yeah.
For children's
but that was defeated, wasn't that defeated?
Someone let us know if that one was defeated, because I still believe that it's up and going here in Texas.
It's against okay. BJ saying make sure that book is in all schools and libraries in Kentucky. The Andrew Seidel book. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. Sopam is saying, shouldn't atheists also be allowed to teach them atheist books and actual science books in those schools? I'm pretty sure they have actual science books in those schools. So I don't think that's a problem. I just think, and again, I don't think teaching the about. Okay, it's a difference of teaching about religion and teaching religion. Okay, teaching about religion is good as long as it's not mandatory. Teaching religion is basically like teaching people superstition and bullshit, nonsense. It shouldn't be.
We do have the problem in America with parents agreeing to let their children be taught evolution and other scientific knowledge that we should be teaching our kids. So science class included evolution not as a fact, but as a belief. For me, this is just for me when I was going to school.
Really?
Yes, and creationism was taught right alongside as another belief, but our teacher wasn't allowed to tell us which one was true. You could pick either or.
Yuval is saying, I like how Ali sighs before saying Texas. Russell is saying, so we teach both fact and fiction in schools now. So sad. Religion should never be taught in schools unless they spend equal time covering all 3,000 different forms of religion to keep the eyes open to learning the truth. These parents teaching their kids our faith is the one true faith is making the problem worse and creating more bias judgment within the cultures. Teach math, science, and history, sticks to facts, and leave fantasy for parents to explain. Actually, this is the most popular comment. I actually disagree with it. I think it's okay to teach one religion as long as you're teaching the facts about that religion. Like somebody might be interested in Mayan mythology, okay, and they just want to go take electives on Mayan mythology. That's just one religion. They're not learning about then if you read about, if you go study Mayan mythology, nobody's going to tell you that the Mayan gods were real, right? But they're going to teach you about what actually happened and how Mayan, what was the customs and what did they do and what the art is like and how did belief influence society. They're going to teach you the facts about the Mayan mythology. So in the same way, if you want to learn about one religion, Christianity or Islam, in public schools, it's fine if you teach it as long as you learn the facts about the religion rather than, again, it's the difference between teaching about a religion than teaching the religion as if it's real, like teaching the dogma, okay, the propaganda of that religion. That should not be allowed. But learning about the religion, that should be fine. In fact, it's a good thing. Catherine is saying, we briefly studied the Bible in literature in high school. I accepted it as work of fiction. Yeah, exactly. Sopam is saying religious schools often have biased science and history books. Chris is saying, if religious people want their kids to be taught religion, why not just take them to a Christian school? Well, it's not they want to influence other kids as well, right? Because the children are the future. Okay. All right. Anything you want to add, Ali?
Nope.
Okay. Here's a big one.
Our next news is brought to us by Subham. Thank you very much for this. It's out of New Delhi, India. BJP Mahila Morcha leader says Hindus should gang rape Muslim women, and she gets expelled. Sunita Singh Gaur, leader of the BJP party, Mahila Morcha.
Not the leader. I think it's one of the leaders, right?
One of the leaders, yeah. It says leader of
Oh, okay.
in our thing. So in Uttar Pradesh's Ramkola has reportedly been removed from her position after she posted on Facebook that Hindu men should enter Muslim homes and rape the women. And quote, there is only one solution for them, Muslims. Hindu brothers should make a group of 10 and gang rape their mothers and sisters openly on the streets, then hang them in the middle of the bazaar for others to see. And that's
Wait,
actually
and
not
then wait,
what
rape
all
them
she
and
said.
then leave them in the middle of the bazaar?
Yeah, that was just a little quippet that I was supposed to read, but I would like to read her entire statement if that's okay
By the
with
way,
you.
before we continue, we just have to point out that she was immediately expelled right after doing this by the
Absolutely,
BJP.
she was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because a lot, see, we put this as when we posted this and we mentioned that we're going to be covering this today. And so there's so many, like, it's in the news that she was expelled. Oh, look, it's actually in the title that she was expelled. I was gonna say that why do they expect everything to be in the title? Like, we're gonna cover the fact that she was expelled, but but it's actually in the title as well that it was expelled, right? So I mean, you have no idea how angry Hindus are getting over every time we have something against Hinduism or something. They have become. I have discovered that Hindus, on average, are way, way, way more sensitive than Muslims. And I cannot believe that, because I thought you cannot get more sensitive than the Muslim community when it comes to criticizing Islam.
But this woman,
okay,
the things that she has said,
Okay,
I would love to read this
read
whole
it,
thing.
read whatever everything she
There is
said.
only one solution for the Muslims. Hindu brothers should make a group of 10 and gang rape their mothers and sisters openly in the streets, then cut them and impale their vagina and hang her in the middle of a bazaar for others to see. When Muslim women won't be able to get out of their homes, when these piglets will correct themselves, if we need to protect India, then Hindu brothers must barge into every Muslim home, making a group of 10 to 20 and gang rape their women. There is no other way.
Yeah, that will solve things.
What is that supposed to solve? I mean, all that is pure hatred.
I mean, what is she trying to do by what does she think will happen after they do this?
And she starts off saying that this is the only solution for Muslims. So what she is calling for here is she's saying Muslims are the problem. She's saying that we have to rape their.
Well, I mean, Islam is a problem, just to be clear.
Islam is. Muslims, though. I mean,
Right,
her
but-
attacks against the people.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but Islam is a problem. The best way to fight Islam, I always say, is to befriend Muslims and talk to them and try to invite them to alternative ways. But I just don't understand what does she think will happen, like the way that her actions, what does she think will happen? Like, Muslims are going to be like, what? They're going to be like, oh, I guess we should change our ways? Like, after
Convert.
they're gonna convert to Hinduism. I mean, she grows up in a place where religious tensions happen all the time. She must know that these things this kind of behavior will make things a lot worse. I mean, she got elected. How does she get a position? She can't be that big of an idiot. She must have a different strategy for saying this. Like, I mean, she seems evil, but I'm trying to figure out if but she can't be that stupid. So I'm trying to understand what was she thinking when she said this. Is she just trying to, because we have to be, you can't just assume everybody's an idiot, right? You have to try to see what their motives are, assuming that they're not stupid. So I think she was just trying to feed into this because in India, anti-Muslim views are growing really, really fast. And I think she was just trying to get more popularity by saying something that would get her more attention than anyone else.
She tried to Donald Trump it, but
Yeah.
she went too far.
She went a little bit too far. Even the BJP, which is very much likes anti-Muslim policies, they were like, "Ooh, that's too far, even for us. We can't know." Like, they were like, yeah, "Okay, we do anti-Muslim, but not like this is a bit too far for
Right.
us." So they were like, "Nope, sorry, we have to let you go." So how long did it take for the BJP to get rid of her? Like, was it immediate?
It really was immediate. So
Immediate.
she posted this. People got screenshots of it. She immediately removed it, but she was removed from her post June 27th, which was when this was posted.
Right.
So
Yuval is agreeing with me. He's saying she was probably thinking that this headline would make her popular among voters. Yeah. Again, if you think about their motivations, usually is not as stupid as you think. It's as evil as you think, but it's not as stupid as you think, right? I mean, it's taking advantage of stupid rather than being stupid, right? If you actually think about if you think about the motivations being helping India or fighting Islam, then you're like, well, this doesn't solve anything, and they come off as stupid. But if you realize their actual motivations is to just get more votes and become more popular among bigots, then you're like, okay, now I see what she was doing. That's what I think, right? But this, like,
Yeah.
how does somebody even think these things, right? Like, I can't, like, where does
the amount of hatred you have to have for somebody to suggest that we impale women by their vaginas and hang them in the middle of a bazaar for others to look at. I mean, that takes a lot of cultivating. That
right?
takes
This
I
is
don't know.
this woman is fucked up in the head. Like, I mean, I don't understand. Like, fucked up in the head, and like she seems like really hateful and evil. I don't understand. Like, what has she? Oh, I don't know. I don't know how. Like, what is she thinking that she's not? If she's okay with saying these publicly, I'm scared about what goes on in her head that she's not even telling us. Michael
Right.
is saying such a lovely religion. Frank is saying keep your fantasy to yourself, please. Jill is saying a sad state of affairs in the so-called biggest democracy in the world. Here, so I know somebody that I can't pronounce their name. I think from India. Let me see, from India. I think from India is saying we are sorry. Don't be sorry just because somebody is from your country doesn't mean you're responsible for what they did. Okay, a lot of I again every time they have both extremes. Some people keep defending somebody and India no matter what shit happens. They were like, oh, fake news, this is fake news, this isn't happen. You guys are just trying to make India look bad. That's extreme. No shit's ugly shit happens in your country, own it and try to fix it. But then we have the other extreme. Some people are Indian and they are apologizing for things that they did not do. And like, oh, I feel so ashamed for being India. Oh, I'm India. I'm so sorry for this. You didn't do this shit. Like, why are you apologizing for something you didn't do? Like, I don't, just because it's from your own country. Like, don't, yeah. Anyways, both of those views are extreme, I think. Let me see what the live did he anything in the live chat?
Someone suggested that we do a group chat about Hinduism and the anti-Muslim
Yeah,
stuff that's
we should
going
have
on.
a guest.
We should do that.
We should have a guest. Sometimes you should come on a live stream with us and talk about it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Soraya is saying since the last 6 years, Hindu communities have made sensitive. It's the BJP religious politics. BJP are giving a reason for Muslims to hate and invoke people to violence. It helps. Yeah, I think actually it helps the BJP the more Muslims do extreme shit. Like if there's more, like I think they're just waiting for Muslims to do attacks. So I think when they attack Muslims, they're hoping that Muslims respond with their own attacks so that they could take advantage of the fear that a lot of Hindus have of Muslims. So I know a lot of them know that this anti-Muslim narrative and a lot of the anti-Muslim stuff that is happening is not going to help. It's actually going to make Muslim extremism grow in India. But I think that they want that because that just really helps them in elections. The more Islam is a threat in India, the more Hindu nationalists could use that as a way to get votes. Bij is saying it is treating females as property, hurt the men by raping their women. Yeah, exactly. Like exactly, Bij. It's very interesting because even and a lot of Muslims do this as well. Like a lot of the threats I get is towards oh, we're gonna come your wife, find your wife and rape your wife, like as if like they don't, it's just like they go after your property and try to damage your property, like something it's so weird. And also when they keep mentioning like their vagina, because they have this attitude as if the only thing that matters about a woman is her vagina, right? So when they say
Right.
like destroy her vagina, because they think like, it's amazing that this is coming from a woman, because their mentality is that a woman is nothing without her vagina, because there's
Wow.
woman is good for two things, for sex and making babies. And if you take a vagina away from a woman, then she's as good as dead. That's why the insult that they want to give to women is just basically destroy their vagina, which is, yeah. Subham is saying, I have come across people who are justifying her and supporting her statement. Disgusting. Wow. That's amazing. Suraya is saying, exactly, Armin is like taking advantage of a Muslim backlash. Yes. Ali, did you want to add anything?
Nope.
No. By the way, how many fake news accusations are we going to get for this? Every time we
Countless.
post this, like seriously, Hindus are so, every time we post anything, fake news, and again, they're gonna complain like, what? Oh, she got expelled, so this is fake news. Like, yeah, we know that we are covering the fact that she got expelled. Such nonsense. I'm so. Anyways, but congratulations to Muslims for not being the most sensitive people on the internet anymore. Hindus have win the medal. All right, so next news.
Yes. Next news is out of Fort Worth, Texas. City of Fort Worth is getting heat for, quote unquote, "In No God We Trust" banners put up legally by atheist group. The city of Fort Worth is receiving complaints after someone put up banners that say "In No God We Trust" on downtown light posts. The city said Metroplex atheists purchased the banners that are currently displayed in several downtown locations. The city explained, while some residents might not like the messaging on these banners, we do not currently restrict religious messaging as long as it follows the current policy and procedures displayed for the banner. Now, I do want to point out that the mayor of Fort Worth had something to say about this. And it was actually pretty cool, because the second I heard that the mayor jumped in her first bit of words, I kind of rolled my eyes, but she finished it off with a bang. Betsy Price said, "I was appalled when the banners were currently being displayed downtown, as I do not support or agree with this message. While many of us may not agree with the message, the organization did follow policies and procedures set forth by the city and downtown Fort Worth Incorporated. We must respect freedom of speech. As we approach 4th of July, we must remember that many Americans have fought and died for the freedoms we cherish today." So awesome. This mayor is saying, I don't agree with these signs, but I absolutely agree with their right to be there. And is reminding other people of that same thing. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, it's still a little bit bullshit that she had to say, "I don't agree with this sign." Like, you're a mayor. We don't really give
Right.
you don't give a shit that you agree with it or not. But we'll take it. We'll accept it. Like, okay, so I mean, it's still ridiculous that she was offended by saying a sign that she doesn't agree with. I mean, you don't like it. Well, it doesn't. Who cares that you don't like it, right? But again, as given how far we are from actually atheists being able to, atheism being normalized, we don't want to be too picky. The fact that she says, "I don't agree it, but freedom of speech, go with the banners," we'll take that win. It's really good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mayor, that you're letting atheists have their banner even though you're offended. This is really good. What organization this is, we should really mention their name again, because this is a really good way of normalizing atheism, right? Like
Absolutely.
yeah.
They're called Metroplex Atheists, and they're holding an event on July 14th, 2019. That's going to be in Fort Worth, and it's going to be open to the public.
Great. Metroplex Atheists, and go find them, go to their event.
Go support them.
Go support them, because this is the kind of activism that we need. Good job, Metroplex Atheists. Like, really good job. If you're in that area, please go support their event. I mean, stuff like this, just people saying that, hey, yeah, atheism is a thing. There are atheists out there. There are people that don't believe in God. It just helps normalize it. Helps it make like, meh, Okay, fine. There are atheists. It's good. Normalize it, right?
Right.
This is exactly the kind of, and this is such a simple but yet powerful way of making that happen. And again, kudos to the mayor for just saying, yeah, I don't like it, but free speech. Let me see. Top comment saying, I've never seen a group of people who claim to be so sure of themselves feel the need to so often proclaim their righteousness. Are you talking about atheists? Well, stop talking about atheism the moment atheism is not seen as demonic or hateful or a crime, or when people are not being put in prison for atheism or being jailed or tortured for it. When that happens, we'll stop talking about atheism.
Yep.
Okay? Tan is saying freedom of speech. I'm right next to Fort Worth. Is that right? I,
Yep.
for one, am proud. Well, Can, be more than just being proud. If you're there, go to their event and show your support. Okay? Just get off the screen sometimes. And I mean, it's good that you're watching us. Don't get off the screen now. But do more than that. Go out in the world and actually do these kind of activism and join these events. Show your support. Do something. Rod is saying a small dose of what we experience every day. Andrew saying, hey, they respected our right to free speech. This is a new one. It's not a new one, but it's good. Let me see. Okay, anything in the live chat? I don't know what.
I think you're talking about other things.
Other things. Okay. Ali, did you want to add anything before?
No.
Okay, let's go to the next news.
All right. Next news is out of Buenaventura, Colombia. A Catholic bishop will spray holy water from a helicopter over the city to defeat the devil. Monsignor Ruben Dario Jarmillo Montoya, a Catholic bishop in Buenaventura, Colombia, said that his city has been ravaged with drugs, gangs, and corruption. He'll borrow a helicopter and spray his city with holy water on July 14th in order to cleanse it from all the demons. And quote, we want to go around the whole city from the air and pour holy water onto it to see if we exorcise all those demons that are destroying our port, Montoya told a local radio station. And quote, so God's blessing comes and gets rid of all the wickedness that is in our streets. So, if praying isn't enough to make it stop and wishing and wanting isn't enough to make it stop, maybe pouring holy water from a helicopter is going to do the trick.
Isn't holy water, doesn't it have shit in there? Like, wasn't there a study that there was pieces of tiny shit in most holy waters in churches?
Yeah.
So this guy is spreading disease around the city. By the way, if this works, can you try that over the Vatican as well? Because when it comes to corruption, and that's where that's one city that needs it a lot.
Right.
But how do these people think? Like, do they think like God is like sitting there and be like, they in their minds, do they think like, so God is, the city, there's a lot of corruption in the city and you're praying for fixes, and God's like, not now. Maybe like God is actually waiting for holy water to be like, how little do they think of their own God? I can't understand.
They're so delirious. Here's what a lot of religious people that come up with this stuff believe. They believe it's definitely God gives us all free will, right? And if you open your heart to Jesus, Jesus will use you as a tool to do good. So when these people get these ideas, they really do believe that this is what God wants, because otherwise they wouldn't have been put on this earth to come up with this idea to do this thing. So this guy really does believe that this is what God wants, and this is what's going to help, rid the wickedness out of their streets. And
but what kind of a God would be like, I can save this city, but I'm going to wait for you to get holy water and then get on a helicopter and spray water all over the city. But
borrow a helicopter.
Borrow a helicopter. That's when I'm going, okay, like now I'm going to save this city. That is what I was waiting for.
So God is letting, all the drugs and the gangs and the rape, all that stuff. It's all fine until this guy gets the idea.
Okay. Actually, Chris brings up a good point. How big is the city? How much will he spray? Like, how much water does this guy have? How much water can he fit in a helicopter for the entire city?
That's a fantastic question. He's just talking about sprinkling some.
He has to do like one. Like, if he wants to cover the city, he should. Like, what is that thing? When they dilute water, I forgot.
I don't know.
The people that dilute water a lot.
Uh-huh.
Homeopathy.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the Catholics and homeopathy people should get together so that he could dilute it enough to get what. How do you make holy water? Do you know?
You just bless it. It's just water that you bless.
Why doesn't he just go to the city's water thing? You know, the place where the tap water comes from, and just stand right up there and just bless it as they come out, and just you don't even need a helicopter. Just all the water that comes out of people's tap water is now holy water. Just build a church on top of your water facility, right? And then when the priests are doing their blessing, you're basically all the tap water every day will be holy water. The whole city will be saved every day.
If I'm correct, and somebody correct me if I'm not, but I believe holy water is really just blessed water. If that's the case, why doesn't he just borrow a fire truck and go around with the hose and just really spray the heck out of everything?
I think if this works, then it should be mandatory that to make your churches on top of the water facility. Why wouldn't they do this then? Like, every water facility should be turned into a church as well. So that then people don't even have to come to church anymore. They're every time great. I mean, yeah.
Well, and here's the deal. Hemant Mehta notes that Newsweek released some articles saying that the city has been working with humanitarian rights groups to fix the problems, and that there has been a significant improvement because of the humanitarian rights groups.
Bullshit. It's because of the holy water.
Well, that's what he's going to get. He's going to take all the credit because these groups are working here, and he's going to be like, no, our city is much better now because my holy water.
Oh, these humanitarians with their real solutions. Soraya is saying if this would have been in India, they would have sprayed cow piss mixed in water. They call it purification. Europe is saying, or just bless the clouds. As soon as it rains, everything will be blessed. Well, no, you're not thinking right. Clouds go away. Now all of a sudden another city gets your benefits. All your hard work is going to go away. Sopam is saying, we used to take the holy water from our school, church, and throw at each other, and eventually replace it with water from restrooms so we don't get caught. Okay, so that's not a good idea. Holy water is full of shit, by the way. Like, I'm not, like, literal shit. So don't do that. That's not good. You're going to get pink eye, okay? Don't touch that stuff. Go look up the studies. I'm not making this shit up. Actually, no pun. No pun intended. Jason's saying just as effective as praying. Rob is saying, I bless the rains down in Africa. Ron is saying he must be a new bishop, a level 20 bishop with just bless a cloud. Yeah, okay. Anything you want to add?
No.
All right, let's go to the next news.
Next news is out of Boston, and this is also kind of an update on what we've talked about before. The organizers of a straight pride event have called in the bomb squad over glitter. The organizers of a so-called straight pride parade in Boston have claimed to be victims of terrorism after receiving envelopes full of glitter. 3 members of Super Happy Fun America called the authorities over envelopes filled with a granular substance. The letters prompted a response from the FBI, 3 fire departments, and the bomb squad. The FBI is investigating but says there's no threat to public safety. John Hugo of the Super Happy Fun America, he's the president of the Super Happy Fun Americans, told NBC that what happened was an act of domestic terrorism. He wants to see this person prosecuted, even if it was just baby powder. The so-called glitter bombing covered someone in glitter It has historically been used as a means of protest against those who oppose LGBT rights. So if you guys are wondering who the Super Happy Fun America people are, they are the people who are for Straight Pride. It's the new organization that was created for the Straight Pride Parade.
Okay, I think this was a shit move. I mean, I'm for LGBTQ rights and all that, and I think the straight pride thing is mostly a troll thing, and it's fine. They can do whatever they want, and it's, I think people should let them. But I don't think you need straight pride though. It's fine, but it's fine if somebody wants to do it. But I do think that this glitter bomb thing, even though it was just glitter, it was obviously meant to look like it could be something else, and that's a terrorist act, I think. Don't you think?
I'm iffy on this one. So I'm, by the way, like anti milkshake throwing. I'm anti hurting anyone on purpose. If they did fill it up so much, I mean, if I received a letter in the mail, and as Atheist Republic, if I received a letter in the mail and it had powder or there was something weird about it before I opened it, yeah, I would probably call the police too. Right. So I don't think that this is like an overreaction on their part. They're a hated group.
I mean, you know that it was glitter after the fact. The fact, if you get an envelope filled with powder and you don't know what's in it, you have to call the police, right? The fact
right, and I think sorry,
go on.
I think that people aren't looking at this objectively.
Yeah.
Right. These Super Happy Fun America people, they know that they're hated. They know that they have pissed off the LGBT community and allies, and they are just a very hated group. And they associate themselves with nationalistic groups and white supremacy. So they are a hated group. And so you have to understand, when you're a hated group, when you're targeted for any reason because you target others or not. If you receive a letter in the mail that's suspicious. You don't know what it is. These people didn't know it was glitter. So if you look at it objectively, then yeah, I do agree with you. That was a dick move. It wasn't something that somebody should have done.
Yeah, I think it could be more than a dick move. It could be actually a crime. I don't know. I mean, it depends on the intention. Maybe the intention was just to glitter bomb them. I don't know if that's a crime, but if the intention was to cause panic because people didn't know what's in it, then that, and it's really hard to prove the intention. So I'm not a legal expert, so
I'm not going to say either way. Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say either way.
Yeah. So let's just clarify this. We don't know what it could be a crime, but we're not legal experts, so we don't know. But it's definitely a shit move, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There's, in fact, if you really wanted to fight these straight pride people, if you would have just gone there and just celebrated the whole thing, right?
Throw glitter in the air around yourself, dance in some glitter.
Because if the intention of the pride was to troll, then by celebrating it, you will. If the intention was to just, if the intention was not trolling, then you're not hurting them. Then you're just enjoying the party. But if the intention was trolling and you just go join and celebrate it, then it backfires on them. If the intention was to make people panic and make people or get offended and overreact, then good job. You just played right into their hands then, right? Like you're making, if their intention was to get, social justice warriors just cry out and be like, oh, this is bullshit. If that was the intention, well, congratulations. You're giving them everything they wanted. Soraya is saying, how many straight people were under oppression by LGBTQ history? Question none. The straight pride makes no sense itself. Well, Soraya, you have to understand that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because they want the reaction to be like, well, we shouldn't have a straight pride. And they were like, well, look, therefore we are oppressed because, you see, gays can have a pride and now we can't. So by people telling them that they shouldn't have a pride, they're like, see, there's a double standard, right? So I think they are creating their reason for their own pride, right?
Right.
So you shouldn't play into that. You should be like, yeah, fine, have a pride. In fact, yeah, I'll come join you guys and have fun. So instead of overreacting to it, which is probably what they want to see. Sobham is saying... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you go.
Subham was asking, did they call the bomb squad before knowing it was glitter? Yes, Subham, they did call them. All they knew was that they had envelopes that were filled with what felt like a granular substance. So they didn't open it, and then they called in everybody, which the FBI, 3 fire departments, and the bomb squad all, showed up.
Katie saying the big brave proud boy scared of a little glitter. How precious. Well, no, Katie, that's wrong. I would be if you're scared of glitter after you open the envelope. Yeah, that's ridiculous. But I'm pretty sure they were scared before they opened the envelope. And I would be afraid as well if I get an envelope, given what I do, the activism I do. If I one day open the mail and there's an envelope full of powder in it, I have no fucking idea what's in it, I will be scared as well. Travis saying, I loathe glitter. Kudos to them. Never trust glitter on anyone. I think that's just a joke. A lot of people are making fun of the fact that they got scared over glitter. They're missing the point. They got scared before they realized it was glitter, and they rightfully so. Pat is saying, if they do end up having a parade, I hope many glitter bombers attend. I don't think they will mind the glitter if people are throwing it in the air. In fact, it would make it look more they would probably welcome that. So you guys are missing, the comments are missing the entire point, I think. Ali, do you want to add anything?
Nope.
Okay. By the way, guys, this is what these people do the best. It's really hard for us to when you're on the side of the LGBTQ people and you do stuff that you end up having to defend some crazy trolls. You're doing your activism wrong. And we're gonna have news like this again today. I think the Iran news is similar to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, next news is out of North Carolina again. North Carolina Republican Lieutenant Governor says diversity and multiculturalism will destroy the country. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest, a Republican, told conservative Christian audience about the awfulness of diversity during a sermon. And, quote, no other nation, my friends, has ever survived the diversity and multiculturalism that America faces today because of lack of assimilation, because of this division, and because of its identity politics, Forrest claimed. But no other nation has ever been founded on the principles of Jesus Christ that begin in the redemption and reconciliation through the atoning of blood of our Savior, he added. So yeah, this guy is basically saying that all the different cultures we have and PC politics and all that stuff is what is going to ruin the nation.
You know what kind of culture ruins a nation?
What's that?
Christian culture. But what do you think about what this guy is saying?
There's nothing really to say. It's kind of a joke for the most part. I do believe that more assimilation definitely helps bring communities together. It helps people experience more, and when people experience more of other cultures and other people from different races, we become more empathetic. So it's just good in general to be that way. But I definitely don't think that few people not wanting to assimilate to American culture, few people not wanting to participate in their communities, I don't think that's going to destroy the country.
See, so I think this guy is saying diversity and multiculturalism, these are completely separate things. And also when you're talking about multicultural, you have to first tell me what you mean by culture. Because culture has two different meanings, right? Culture, sometimes when people say culture, they're referring to dance, music, art, food, and so, stuff like that, stuff that you enjoy. When it comes to that definition of culture, I love multiculturalism, and I think
me too.
More
yes.
more diversity of culture in that situation is great, and in places where you have more diversity of that kind of culture, the better, right? But the second definition of culture is values and standards of living, right? That second definition of culture. I don't agree with multiculturalism on that point, because there are definitely better values and better ways to live, and you should only accept the best ways of living, right? The best standards, the best values, right? And not when it comes to that definition of culture, multiculturalism is a bad idea, right? And I say multiculturalism is bad idea is not just multiculturalism and even your own culture could be a bad idea, right? You should reject bad cultures from outside and from inside, right? You should just go based on data and analysis and try to adopt the best values and the best standards of living, and maybe change your own culture if need be, and have progress, right? It doesn't matter if it's coming from inside or from outside. You just have to go with the best standards, right? So when it comes to diversity, again, the people's ethnicity or race, none of that matters. You should just reject different values and different kinds of people, regardless of their race or ethnicity, and accept the ones that have better standards and better behavior regarding of their ethnicity or background or anything like that. But throughout, if you look at, again, this guy says like, oh, other cultures are bad, and he's endorsing Christian culture, which is one of the most damaging ones. But if you look at history, the most advanced centers of science, philosophy, trade, art, throughout history were also the most diverse ones, right? Like they became, but that's not because of the diversity. It was a side effect of the progress, right? So, for example,
Right.
if you go to, ancient, Iran, or ancient, if you go to look at Baghdad, or if you go look at Rome, the cities that became the hub of all knowledge and trade and everything, when you went there, it became like those cities were also extremely diverse. So it's usually the opposite of what people say. Throughout history, but that's not because the diversity didn't make those cities great, but because those cities became so great, it became such a magnet from people around the world, right?
Right.
So many people. So I don't think this diversity and multiculturalism doesn't hurt a nation. It's just a bad culture, bad values. So you should just reject bad values, regardless of where they're coming from, right? Whether from within or outside. And that's all I think. But when it comes to art and dance and food and stuff, I think everybody enjoys a more diversity of culture when it comes to that. There's no harm in, it just makes your city a lot more fun and colorful, and there's more food to enjoy, more art to enjoy. Who doesn't like that, right? Let me see what
Right.
Yuval is saying. That's the problem with these right-wing nutters. They make valid points to a degree about the need to assimilate and for cultural common ground, and then take it to a crazy level. Yeah, usually these things have a little bit of truth to them, but then they come up with wrong conclusions from it. Sopham is saying, if I remember correctly, there was a study with. Let me read that again. If I remember correctly, there was a study which showed that strict intra-race procreation is actually harmful. Well, I don't know if that's true or false. Chris is saying, do you know why the Roman Empire lasted as long as it did? Because they took facets of each culture and integrated them into their own culture. Well, I thought it was because they let the... Actually, I have to look into that. But I remember the armies that they hired became way too powerful. And there were armies from other nations, and they gave them so much control over everything. At some point, these armies decided, like, hey, there's more of us than the Romans, so we can control shit. Anyways, correct me if I'm wrong on my history. Okay, should we go to...
The last news.
Yes.
It's U.S. and Iran. Iranian President Rouhani says his country will enrich uranium to any amount we want. Iran has declared that it'll enrich as much uranium as it wants, regardless of its obligations under an international agreement. The New York Post reports the Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has rejected pleas from Europe to uphold the 2015 nuclear deal, which lifted sanctions in return for Iran agreeing to limit on its nuclear ambitions. Speaking at the cabinet meeting, Mr. Rouhani said Iran would increase its enrichment levels above the agreed 3.67% cap unless those remaining in the pact follow through with their obligations. It would require 90% enrichment for the nuclear weapons. Our advice to Europe and the United States is to go back to logic and to the negotiating table. Go back to understanding, to respecting the law and resolutions of the UN Security Council. Under those conditions, all of us can abide by the nuclear deal.
Wait, who's asking for who to go back to the negotiating table?
President Rouhani.
Negotiating table. Okay. Are you sure Rouhani said to go back to the negotiating table?
That is what our
That's weird.
blip says. Let me go here and just double
Because
check.
negotiation is very unpopular right now in Iran after what Trump did.
Yeah.
Double check that, but also let me know what you think, because I have a lot of comments on this. I don't know how detailed you guys want me to take it.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it. This is the full portion of it. And any amount we want, any amount that is required, we will take over 3.7%, Mr. Rouhani said. And then they go on to continue quoting him. And he says, our advice to Europe and the United States is to go back to logic and the negotiating table, go back to understanding, to respecting the law and resolutions of the UN Security Council. Okay. Under those conditions, all of us can abide by the nuclear deal. So in this news article, they're quoting him as saying that.
Okay, so here's the thing. It's very hard to make the Islamic Republic of Iran look like on the right side, because the Islamic Republic of Iran is a criminal regime. Okay, it's a criminal, brutal, anti-human rights, anti-sanity regime. It's a terrorist state. Okay, so it's very, very hard for anybody to make them look like they're on the right side, and Trump has managed to do that. Thank you very much. Trump has managed to give so many good narratives to the Islamic Republic of Iran to make them themselves look globally like they were wrong, they were right, and the United States was wrong. Like, how badly do you have to fuck up everything to make such a fucked up regime look like the good guys here, okay? Which they're not, okay? But the narrative is now the narrative that the Trump administration has just gifted to the Islamic Republic, which is they're just getting the best of all. Like, the Iranian government probably cannot believe how easy it is for them. Everyone thinks the sanctions are going to crush them. The sanctions are helping them. Okay, the sanctions are helping the hardliners in the government, but they are basically getting all the benefits of. So you have to understand, you can't treat the Islamic Republic of Iran as if it's just one thing, right? You have to look at the hardliners, the reformists, and the opposition, right? The hardliners are just loving everything Trump is doing right now, okay? They didn't like the nuclear deal, right?
Right.
And they seem so victorious right now, right? They're getting... they're looking at the country and they're telling the rest of the country, we told you so, right? And they're looking to the rest of the world and saying, first of all, what Trump wants to do, Trump wants to put pressure. So Obama did a deal with Iran, and Trump had said, no, fuck that, let's leave it, right? Even though they had a signed agreement, and even though Iran did abide by the agreement, right? So they're saying, like, yeah, you abide by the agreement, but you have missiles, right? You have missiles, and we don't like that. And Iran is like, yeah, but that wasn't in the deal. There wasn't in the deal that I cannot have missiles. So you are backing out of the deal. Basically, we signed the deal, we have an agreement, and you're just, not abiding by it. You are not abiding by the deal, and now you're asking us to come up with a new deal. Why should we sign a deal with you when it was so easy for you to just, like, what's the point of signing deals with you if it was so easy for you to just abandon the first deal we had? You're saying, like, well, we don't like you. You have missiles, and that's why we're going to leave the deal, even though it wasn't part of the agreement. And now you're asking us to come sign. Why would we ever sign anything with you if it's so easy for you to just? So, they can just tell the world, they're like, look, this is why we're going to enrich uranium, because we tried to not enrich uranium and tell you, like, okay, fine, we won't enrich uranium. Let's come up with a deal, and let's figure this out together. Again, I'm just saying how it looks right now. Okay, I'm not trying. I don't want to defend the Islamic Republic of Iran, but I'm just saying, look what you've done. Look what the narrative that you've given to them. You're like, look, we could have enriched uranium. They told us not to, and they say, like, okay, fine, let's come up with an agreement. We signed an agreement, and they left the agreement, and now they're coming up and telling us to sign a new deal. And we're saying, well, fuck that. We're gonna enrich uranium, right? Because we already signed an agreement with you, and you guys just abandon it just like that for something that's not even in the agreement. So, I mean, what's the counter to that? And Trump is like, okay, let's put sanctions on them to put them on so much under pressure so that they're forced to come back to the negotiating table. You know how bad it looks for Iran to go back to the negotiating table right now with the United States? I mean, because the people are like, what are you doing? You're so weak now. Why would you? They look so weak if they go back to. It seems like they could just do whatever. The government there wants to look powerful. They want to look like strong. And United States comes out of the deal and they put pressure on you, and now you go back make another deal. Obviously, they're not going to do that. They put sanctions on Iran to make the Iranian people hate the government, so that the government gets pressured. But the government could just change that narrative and be like, look what they're doing. So now all the pressure that the Iranian people are feeling, the government could go to the people itself and like, look, this is what the U.S. is doing. They want you to hate us, but they are the ones that are backed up the deal. And all the economical pressure that you're feeling is not because of us. They backed out of the deal, and now they're putting pressure. They're trying to turn you against us, so we sign another deal. Do you want us to sign another deal with people that back out of a deal like this? So I know the Iranian government is hated by a lot of its own people, but a lot of people, when I say a lot, I'm not talking about majority, but you are helping them win more people on their side. With this pressure, what are you even thinking? I mean, I know that what they're thinking, because it's not like they're trying to fix anything. They just want to be reelected, right? So I don't think Trump wants to go to war with Iran, at least not before the elections, because that would be a suicide political suicide for Trump. Maybe in the second term, I don't know, but not right now. But it does. But, they have their experts. They know this is not going to work. They tried sanctions before. Iran have survived the Iranian government, not Iran, the Islamic Republic has survived a lot harsher situations than this. They know that this is probably not going to bring them to the negotiation table. I don't know what the hell Trump thinks, but the experts at the White House, they probably know. But I think what they're thinking is, when they go to the 2020 elections, they can't just be like, we didn't do anything, right? So they just want to act like they're putting a lot of pressure on Iran, and Iran is feeling the pressures just to be able to just have something to say to the voters, right? But I hope they know this is not going to work, because if they don't know this, I don't know what they're paying them for. So I'm saying, Armin, go passionate. No. Chris is saying, speaking of Trump, he can't claim the moral high ground when he knowingly sold weapons of mass destruction to Assad and Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I mean, of course, and when you're buddies with Saudi Arabia, it's really hard for you to claim that you're putting pressure on Iran because of humanitarian reasons, right? It just completely destroys that narrative. But yeah, right now it's the Iranian people that are experiencing the pressure because of the sanctions, not really the government. The government,
right?
And again, the government has different parts, right? You have the IRGC, for example, which is the main military power in Iran. has a lot of monopoly in many areas of Iran's economy, and the sanctions help them gain more control over the economy. So the worst part of Iran's government become more powerful because of the sanctions. Unless you put an absolute sanction and such a harsh sanction where they can't sell a single drop of oil, that's the only way you could hurt them. But you can't do that right now because you also have pissed off China and Russia. So no matter how much sanctions you put on them, China is still going to buy their oil. Russia is going to still buy their oil. So harsh sanctions helps them. Absolute, completely devastating sanctions where they can't sell any oil, it's the only thing that could hurt them, which you're not going to be able to achieve because China and Russia are not going to get on the same side with you. And so let me see. Another godless atheist is saying, from what I've seen in an American politics, war normally helps re-elect U.S. president. You have to you have to look at the conditions. Like when Bush went to war, he had 9/11, right? When you did when you went to dropped atomic bombs on Japan, you had Pearl Harbor. You can't just go. It doesn't work. Like, you have to have something. That's why some people think maybe people like John Bolton have put American troops right next to U.S. interests, just as sacrificial lamb for Iranian proxies. See, Iran is also clever. Iran knows that some of these U.S. interests around that area is bait for Iran to attack, so that Iran could so that United States can counterattack. So Iran has really experimented with how much attack they can get away with before United States, because Iran has used its proxies a lot in Iraq and Syria to attack U.S. interests, but it has not directly by its own army attacked U.S. interests. And over the past couple of years, U.S. soldiers have died because of Iranian proxies, and United States doesn't make a big deal of that because they don't want to go to war. So Iran knows if they use proxies to kill U.S. soldiers, that's, they have experimented with what can they get away with, right? So even right now, some tensions that you're saying in the, with the ships and stuff, you can see that it's not Iran directly. It's mostly Iranian proxies. It's not enough for United States to be able to go in unless they really decide to. Like, if you see United States all of a sudden making a big deal out of one of these proxy attacks, you know that United States now really wants to go to war, because Iran has attacked U.S. interests for the past 5 years or 7 years, and killed American soldiers, and they didn't even make the news. So if Iran continues to use proxies and all of a sudden the United States say like, oh, now we have to go to war, you know that, okay, United States, why didn't they say things about those couple of years before, and now they're saying it, so maybe they really do want to go to war, right? But Iran wouldn't use its own soldiers because they know that if they do right now, then United States will have really good excuse to go to war. So they know they don't want to do that. But another thing is that a lot of people are like, oh no, war helps re-election. Again, Trump is different. Trump's base doesn't like war, unlike other Republicans before him, right? Like, so you can see when Trump attacked Assad bases, by the way, I don't know what Chris said. Trump didn't sell weapons to Assad. It was just Saudi Arabia, not Assad. So just correction to what Chris said above. But when Trump attacked Assad bases, it was his own base really went against Trump. This is a Republican president with a following that wants no money to be spent outside of the United States. They just want the president to just focus on the United States. So I don't think you're going to see the same result if Trump goes to war. And Trump knows this, okay? This is why there's an internal war happening in the White House. There are some people like Bolton, for example, in the White House. They really, really want the United States to go to war. And Trump knows that his base doesn't like that. So there's now an internal struggle happening right now in the White House between these two different groups, right? So Trump doesn't want to go to war, but he's trying to resist these other forces in the White House, and his base, Trump's base, knows that there are some people influencing him, trying to get him to go to war, and they're really trying to reach him and trying to get Trump to ignore these people. Did you want to add anything to that? Let me just see what the top comment.
I'm not sure if I agree that Trump doesn't want to go to war.
Oh no, he doesn't. I know he doesn't.
Why?
Well, I mean, his whole brand was, like his entire brand was like, I mean, to be fair, he gets influenced easily, right? He's like a sponge. He spends 5 minutes he spends in a room with people that say something else. All of a sudden, he comes out and he says completely something opposite than what he was saying yesterday, right? So it's not like he has any consistent chain of thought, but up until recently, his entire branding was like, bring the troops home, blah blah blah. Like that was his entire anti-Hillary message.
Right, because he was anti-Hillary. But
yeah,
the thing is if we go to war, he will win the 2020 election.
No, I don't agree with that. I think he will, if he goes to war.
Statistically speaking, anytime we're in a war, the president who starts it gets reelected.
Yeah, well, again, you have to look at the situations, right? Like if Bush went to, okay, think about when Bush got reelected, right? But imagine if he did the Iraq war without 9/11, okay? If you just be like, let's attack Iraq, let's attack Saddam because he's a shitty guy.
Iran is making it easy to prove a point that maybe we have to go to see. We can in America.
Iran, because everybody, the whole world is saying like, yeah, Iran was abiding by the agreements, and United States has pulled out of it. The entire U.S. is saying that as well.
I know, but what they're saying now is they're saying they're going to continue getting uranium. Our media is going to tell us this means they are making nuclear weapons. America is going to say, "Oh my goodness, please let's stop them."
Okay,
and Trump is going to say, "Yes, people, we will stop them."
Look at the media after 9/11. It was so pro the president. Okay,
oh yeah,
and they're like, "Go to war, go to war." Look at the media right now. They're like, they're anti the president going to war. They're saying that Iran was abiding by the rules. They're saying like, oh, this president wants to take us to war. You have to be careful not to let him. The world is like, again, if you're comparing it to Bush, for example, getting reelected after 9/11, when the whole world was like, let's get revenge, right?
Yes, but it wasn't after the war. It was after 9/11, but not after the war.
I know, but I'm just saying you need a Pearl Harbor or a 9/11 for your country to be like, yes, go to war. Let's show these motherfuckers. Let's get revenge, right? Trump doesn't have that right now. If United States was very, very anti getting involved in World War II, right until Pearl Harbor. After that's what they needed. Pearl Harbor was what they needed to convince American citizens that we need to go to war. And after that, the Americans were like, okay, fine, let's go to war. 9/11 had to happen for American citizens to be like, okay, fine, let's go to war. Right now, Trump doesn't have a 9/11 or a Pearl Harbor. He needs a 9/11 or a Pearl Harbor, okay? He doesn't have that. Compare it to Bush. If Bush just said like, hey, let's go fuck Iraq and attack Saddam without a 9/11, I don't think he would have been reelected if he didn't have 9/11 and he just attacked Iraq.
Right. And you are absolutely right. He does need something, okay? But that doesn't mean that Trump doesn't want to go to war. That's all I'm saying. The man wants to go to war. It'd be great for him if he went to war. He would get reelected if he went to war. I say he does want to go to war. I also agree with you.
How do you know how you're reading his mind? I just look at what he's saying.
I'm not reading his mind. I'm also looking at exactly what he's saying.
He says his whole branding was bring the troops home. Another godless atheist is saying, Armin, what about George Bush Sr.? Well, he had Kuwait. He had so again, and he also, George Bush Sr. had Kuwait, and he also had the backing of the whole international community. The whole civilized world was on his side. Does Trump enjoy that today? He has the exact opposite.
Right, but if he gets his 9/11, if he gets his
Yeah,
whatever,
he needs a 9/11, and
he
I think
will go to war happily.
oh yeah, of course. If he gets his 9/11, they're trying. That's why they're trying. That's why they're not going to war yet. They're trying to put something for Iran to attack, because yes, I agree with you that right. But they want a better excuse. Right now, it doesn't look like they have an excuse. Right now, it looks like, well, Iran was abiding by the deal. You pulled out of it. Now you're bullying them, and now you're trying to go to war with something that you pulled the deal, with something that you didn't abide by. So this right now, it doesn't look good if they go to war. Okay, they need for Iran to do something massive, right? So they're poking them and like, hey, do something. So we
Yes.
can right. So yeah.
Yes.
Let me see. Chris is saying there were actually intelligence that suggested that FDR knew about Japan. I don't know, Chris. I heard about that, but that sounds like a conspiracy theory to me. If that is true, I want to see more evidence of that. He's saying I heard about this conspiracy theory before. So Chris is saying that there was intelligence that suggested that FDR knew about Japan's intent to attack Pearl Harbor. I don't know if that's true. If somebody knows something about that, sounds pretty far-fetched to me. Mars is saying if an international... By the way, by proof, I mean not like somebody just heard something, okay? Like actual proof. Mars is saying if an international event that gives the U.S. president some kind of righteous narrative behind the declaration of war, that, yeah, he'll probably get reelected. Yes, I agree with Mars. You wouldn't get reelected if you don't have that righteous narrative. The other presidents that went to war and got reelected, they had a righteous narrative and excuse for war.
Right, and but what
Trump
the
doesn't
only
have
thing
that right
I
now.
wanted to say was that Trump wants that.
Okay,
Trump wants it.
but right now, if he goes to war, I don't think he will get reelected. I think right now, if he goes to war, he would lose.
I might agree with that. Yeah,
Right.
that's a maybe on me, but
Right.
I believe he wants it.
Yeah, but it would be a safer option for him to wait for the second term to go to war. I think. I don't know. Um, there are some theories, and again, this is just not even a theory, hypothesis, that there are some people in Iran want Trump to attack Iran. Some people in this, again, you shouldn't say Iran, because a lot of people in Iran hate it when you refer to the government as Iran, because they're like, this government doesn't represent us. So, okay, there are some people in the Islamic Republic of Iran, the government, that might want Trump to attack because they think if he attacks, he wouldn't get reelected. But that's just a crazy conspiracy theory, again, but I'm just saying you what are some thoughts people are throwing out there.
Right.
Anyways, Chris is saying, I'll see if I can find something about it, then send you the link. Please don't. I already have enough. Like, okay. I probably wouldn't have time to read it. But just tell me if you find a good source. I don't know. Again, I can't believe it if I don't spend time reading it. So, but I'm really short on time. Ali, did you want to add anything to this?
No.
Chris in the Facebook chat is saying some stuff. Trump doesn't want... Oh, I don't know. Chris is saying a lot of things. But you need to tag Atheist Republic if you want me to read it. All right. So that was... oh, we forgot to read... Oh, some people are defending Iran here. Oh, yeah. Dion is saying, we quit the agreement, so we have no say in this. See? If you could make something as evil as the Islamic Republic of Iran look like they're on the right side, you have done a fantastically horrible job. And this is what the Trump administration has managed to do. Steve, you're saying if only we had some sort of an agreement with them. Wait, he did what? Yep. See? These are probably U.S. citizens saying this as well. Like, you can't really look more on the wrong side, as they really fucked everything up. Like, Iran has all the right they have all the right PR and all the right narratives internationally to play with, and they didn't even have to work for it. Trump just gifted that to them. Anyways, that was the last news. Thank you, Ali, for being here.
Yeah.
And, it was a little bit harder for you to be here today, so thank you for doing that. I really appreciate people in the live chat. So Palm, Chris, another godless atheist. Another godless atheist. I really appreciated your counter arguments. It's good to have that all the time. Mars here as well. Soraya, Sobham. I already said Sobham. Beach. We didn't have Christy here today.
I know, I miss her.
Yeah, I miss her too. Doorknob Head, PLWK, Chris Pro, Yuval on Facebook, Matty. Sorry if I didn't read your name, but thank you again for correcting us, commenting us, disagreeing with us, and see you guys again next week.
Bye.
Bye.